Well, you get Captain Canada back. That's a good thing. The Toronto Raptors get Kelly Olynk back. He looked great despite being on minutes restriction. And the Toronto Raptors did not look so great. For most of this game, they did not look great despite a late comeback in the fourth quarter in which a lot of minutes RJ Barrett was not on the court. It was a unit led by Jakob Poeltl at times, Kelly Olynyk at times. There was a center swap in there. Scottie Barnes, Grady Dick, Jacoby Walter. A lot of players had promising looks tonight. Here's an interesting stat for you. Do you know that Jonathan Mobo, yes, the Jonathan Mobo, who didn't take a single three or make a single three in college, is shooting 55% from three over the last 8 games, including tonight? That's a cool development for a guy who couldn't even look at threes in summer league and wasn't taking threes early. So look, this is a development rep. If you were expecting to beat a team that has pretty much routed the league so far, playing at their best, they've got Luka Doncic back. They're just a better team. I mean, let's just be real, right? We don't have to cap about it. We don't have to say, oh, the Raptors really let one go. No, I think you can celebrate the fact that certain players played very well. And we can talk about that. We don't have to be all doom and gloom about, oh my God, I can't believe we lost. I think it's a good thing that you actually fought back. You could have folded. The Raptors did not compete against OKC, which was disappointing for a team that has routinely competed and fought back. There wasn't a lot of fight against OKC. There was a lot of fight tonight. So let's talk about it. Okay. So overall, you get smoked in the first half. You give up 70 points. Okay. Things were way too easy. Way too easy. The Raptors were very disorganized defensively, very late contesting shooters. And it wasn't just RJ Barrett. I know it's very easy to pick on RJ Barrett and say, well, his defense is trash because, it's so glaringly obvious that they're picking on him. But it was also late rotations by Scottie Barnes. It was not closing out or not boxing out by Grady Dick. It was just a systemic issue where there was almost always somebody out of place. And the Dallas Mavericks are very good at surgically picking apart your defense. So overall, you pretty much match them in terms of field goal efficiency. You take more shots, which is generally a pretty good sign, except they got to the line 20 more times. Some very questionable calls down the stretch. Some extremely questionable calls down the stretch, including a call against Davion Mitchell, which the Raptors challenged and then lost, which I'm like, I don't know about that. But then a call that wasn't called on the Grady Dick jump shot, which I'm like, it's a clear foul. And we'll look at the film and it is a clear foul. I don't get it. I don't get it at all. Okay. Discrepancy at the free throw line aside, the Raptors lose the rebound battle. That generally shouldn't happen. But with Daniel Gafford and Derek Lively in there, it's hard not to lose that battle. The assists, this is the Darko game, okay? Scottie Barnes had a career high 14 assists. I don't think I'm lying if I say that Scottie Barnes should have had probably like 22 assists if his teammates could hit open jumpers and just wide open layups. I don't think that's crazy at all. I think he could have had 22, 23, 24, 25 assists. I mean, he was looking to set his teammates up tonight. And, they tried to pack the paint on him. They tried to play zone against him. They put Derek Lively out there a little bit sometimes just to cover up for Luka Doncic and, the mismatch that is. And I don't think sometimes Scottie exploited it necessarily well enough, but he created great offense all night. Can't make shots for Davion Mitchell. And, the times where he did have players on the court who could hit shots like Kelly Olynyk and tonight Jonathan Mobo, it worked. Okay. And I think that it was good process. I think Kelly Olynyk looked really good tonight, and I think he influenced a lot of that passing. Okay, Kelly is like a 6'11" point guard out there. That really helps because you already have Jonathan Mobo, who's again like a 6'8" point guard out there, and then you got Scottie Barnes, who's like a 6'8" point guard out there, and then you got a bunch of playmakers, and it helps. It helps to have a guy like Kelly as opposed to a guy like Boucher, because Kelly does not stop offense. And tonight you saw that. Right. So even though some of your shots didn't go in and Jacoby Walter continues to miss threes and all that stuff, I don't think you need to completely throw the baby out with the bathwater. Okay. Because Kelly is very awesome and it's a really good thing to have him back. Points in the paint, the Raptors win that battle. Usually a good thing if it wasn't for giving up so many open threes on the other end. And the 3-point battle, of course, 17 for 45 for them. You outshot them from three. So really, you lost this game because you foul so often. You put them at the line, including that very late, costly, I don't know what type of foul on Davion Mitchell, which puts was It was Luka Doncic at the line. Jaden's saying Cade had 29, 15, and 10. That's very impressive because I think the Pistons won and they were facing the New York Knicks. That's very impressive. Do you know that Nikola Jokic had 55 or 56 points tonight against the Wizards and they lost? Can't do it alone in the NBA, man. You need a team. Okay. In terms of the overall box score, I mean, they get a very nice triple-double from Luka Doncic. 30 points on 20 shots. Pretty efficient. 13 rebounds, 11 assists, 4 steals. Who says he doesn't play defense? He was a plus 10 tonight. That was the team leading plus 10. You know who was another plus 10? Scottie Barnes, except his team lost by 7. So, I mean, okay. Kyrie Irving, 29 points on 14 shots. My God. The efficiency of Kyrie Irving. He did whatever he wanted, whenever he wanted, and it was way too easy. I think their bench really won the minutes. I think Spencer Dinwiddie was relatively good, despite shooting 1 for 6 from the field. I think he had an overall positive impact on the game. Max Prosper, Canadian boy, doing really well. And Daniel Gafford, what a luxury to have a big like him coming off the bench. They got him from the Wizards. I think maybe the Raptors should probably follow suit when they're ready to contend. Take a player off a losing team that doesn't belong on a losing team. Guys like PJ Washington and guys like Daniel Gafford were shining on losing teams last year, and they just took them. They took them for future firsts. Overall, the Raptors get 13 points from Kelly Olynyk. Very efficient. He did not miss a single shot. He made all 3 of his threes. Beginner's luck, okay? Kelly's not going to shoot 100% from 3 on the season, but I think if he could be a 38 to 40% three-point shooter, it gives you something you don't have at the big spot right now, which is a legit option to space 5 out. Now, does it help to have a player on the court, who's shooting 38% from the field and defenses actually have to worry about it? Center, if your point guard and shooting guard are combined shooting 23% from the field, from 3, which is what I'm talking about with Davion Mitchell and Jacoby Walter right now. I mean, it's a little bit of a catch-22, but those guys are playing anyway, so you might as well have a big who can space. As I mentioned, Jonathan Mobile continues to be hot from 3. There was a story, Kayla Gray shared it, that he was a shooter. He was known as a shooter. He's mentioned this many times. He can shoot. He just was told not to shoot for whatever reason in college. And I'm sure his college coach is looking at him wetting threes in the NBA saying, "You mean I could have had you doing this the whole time?" Yeah, you could have had him doing it the whole time. You just lack imagination. Jakob Poeltl comes back into the lineup with 20 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists. Jakob had a great game. And Scottie, of course, aforementioned, 19 points, 14 assists, and 8 rebounds. And I really, really believe that he should have had 22 to 23 assists tonight. He was just creating openings everywhere. Jacoby Walter shoots 4 for 10, goes 0 for 4 from 3, which continues a very negative trend for him, just not being able to adjust that 3-point line. But he is not a bad shooter, guys. I think some people are really going to be quick to say he's a bad shooter. He needs to learn how to shoot. He's not a bad shooter. I think he's just having some struggles with the length of the 3-point line. I think that's just about it, right? Because he's shooting from mid-range and he's shooting very well from mid-range. He had a bunch of mid-range shots tonight. Chris Boucher and Garrett Temple, Jamal Shed all get DMPCDs tonight. Davion Mitchell gets 27 minutes. Now, if you're going to get 27 minutes, I don't think you can get 1 point. I would have rather played Jamison Battle tonight. I would have rather played Chris Boucher tonight. I would have rather played Jamal Shed tonight. I don't know what Darko wants to do with Davion Mitchell, but 27 minutes is getting egregious. It's like he's like a 6th starter out there. He got more minutes than Ochai Agbaji tonight. Was he better than Ochai Agbaji tonight? I don't think he was. Does he provide more of a scoring threat than Ochai Agbaji? No, he doesn't. So why does he get 27 minutes? What is it? Does he have compromising pictures? I understand the point of attack defense. I do. But last I checked, Luka and Kyrie went off, and those were his matchups. They didn't have a tough night. They didn't have an off night. Kyrie Irving had about the most efficient game of the season. So I'm not really sure what exactly I'm supposed to be getting out of him. But what I do know is that when Scottie finds him open in the corner, he's not shooting because he can't shoot. So this is really tough. Okay. Emmanuel Quickley is very much needed indeed, says Mel. Yes, very much so. So, please don't compare him to Dennis Schroeder. Dennis Schroeder is a legit rotation guard in the NBA. He may be annoying. He may be all that lead stuff, but he is leaps and bounds a rotation player in the NBA. He is ahead of Davion Mitchell in every sense imaginable. And he's also a pretty decent defender. But I want to see more Jamison Battle minutes. I want to see more Jonathan Mobile minutes. And honestly, if you're going to play a guy who's gonna, blow shit from three and, not provide a tremendous amount of spacing. Hey, Jacoby Walters +6 tonight. That's the second best mark on your team. And you felt it. You felt it. You felt his defense. You felt the momentum. You felt the spacing. You felt like better driving angles with him on the court. Because regardless of the fact that he's shooting 14 or 15% from three, teams are not completely leaving him yet. Okay. He hasn't earned that reputation on the scouting report of, hey, that's a non-shooter, because he's not a non-shooter. He's just going through an extremely cold stretch. So I do believe that it's important for Darko to consider some of his spacing issues with these non-scoring players. Anyways, okay, moving on to the game cast. Was this game close? Was it really ever close? No. It was really far at one point. In the third quarter, you got down 88-72. That was bad. 94-74. That was about quitting time. 98-74. And you're like, uh-oh, here we go again. And then something good happened. Kelly Olynyk happened. And I think Kelly Olynyk was a really big part of everything that went right for the Raptors tonight. Okay. Are y'all hearing a bit of a buzzing with my audio? I don't know what's going on here, but I would love to solve it. I'm getting like a little bit of a vibration on the not really sure what's going on here. Give me one sec. Okay, that should be better. Let's hope. Camera is dropping frames too, I think. Meh. Gosh. Okay. All right. Let's get to the film breakdown. Lots to break down tonight in terms of film. Is my camera dropping frames? I hope it's not. Maybe I need to figure that out at some point, because that was happening yesterday too. That's really funny. I'm not going to lie. That's really funny. Okay. All right. Okay, let's get the film lined up here. Okay. Now, in case you don't know, I'm very, very excited that Kelly Olynyk's back. Okay. I love players who make good decisions. He's a player that makes great decisions. Not a perfect player by any means, but yeah. Okay. Now, first quarter, good process. Now, RJ Barrett, he's going to see the advantage. Scottie Barnes, very smart, very intelligent, knowing Derek Lively isn't back to help. He's going to seal Kyrie Irving here. And then somehow he's going to stuff this over Luka Doncic, who just kind of fades in and out of that play. Very nice. Okay. Next up. Okay, hang on one second. This is just too easy. This was out of a timeout. And this is just, Kyrie Irving making this quick little pass to Daniel Gafford. RJ can't recover. Yak loses him, and you just lose 2 points like this. And this happened a lot tonight. It's really just inexcusable how often this happens with the Raptors. There's just breakdowns in communications. Okay. I really like this defense from Jonathan Mobo. You'll notice earlier in the season, there was a lot of jumping, fouling, stuff like that going on. Not tonight. Okay. Really just good, solid, man-to-man, positional defense. And he is going to force Luka. Again, this is the second setup. This is like, good job, Davion, kind of coming in there. That was technically could have been called a foul. He's just kind of like playing it off right now. But Davion fouls a lot, man. Davion and Yak foul a lot. Now, there's just no reason to be like, that's a foul. Like straight up, if Luka really wanted to sell that, that's a foul. You just can't be in that position where you're so physical that you're actually getting called for fouls and bailing the other team out, right? And here's another one. Okay, just another play defensively. Jonathan Mobo straight up on Luka Doncic, and it's good every time. It's good. Okay, he is optimally set up to guard him. Now he loses him a little bit. I would want him to be a little bit more connected, but front rim there. So overall, you're not going to stop a player like Luka Doncic. You want to throw him off rhythm. Okay. And I think Jonathan Mobo did a really good job of that. I think Bilal Coulibaly did a really great job of that before, too. This is one of many, many threes for Gradey Dick tonight. You know, just such a beautiful stroke. It's surprising it doesn't go in more often than it does, honestly. Like when you see Gradey Dick shoot, you think he probably shoot like 42, 43%. I think that day is coming. It was really interesting to watch him. This is Kelly Olynyk checking in for the first time this year. Very nice to see that. He hasn't played since preseason, and he was just very sharp, sharp as a whistle, man, sharp as a whistle. And, if he is going to get traded, it'll be a tough loss, but you get it. He's not really on the timeline. He's 32 years old or so, but yeah, some good plays by Jacoby Walter here. Really love it, man. Earlier today, I flashed some plays of young Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and RDM Anthony saying, am I tripping for thinking Gradey Dick is on pace to be Devin Booker 2.0? I've actually made the comparison myself, man. I don't think you're tripping. I mean, that would be a glorious outcome. But it was interesting to see him tonight against Klay Thompson, and Klay Thompson just kind of being like, okay. But yes, this is, I showed some clips of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander as a rookie. And I'm not saying I'm definitely not saying Jacoby Walter is going to be Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, but he does a few Shai things. This is such a Shai move right here. Okay. This is 100% Shai. All right. Over Spencer Dinwiddie, who's no one's definition of a great defender, but that was contested and that was a tough shot and he makes it. And here's another one, right on Spencer Dinwiddie's dome. Spencer Dinwiddie is like the Mavericks equivalent of Davion Mitchell, where their entire fan base just asks, why does he play so much? Here, Dwight Powell gets sort of screened off here. And again, another long defender in your face, doesn't matter. Another beautiful jumper. These are the shots that stars make. This is a star shot diet. It's self-generated. It's got to be very exciting if you're Darko Rakovic, you're watching this, okay? The impact metrics don't look great. Fine. I get it. But it doesn't really matter at this point. Like, you're looking for flashes. This was a great pass from Gradey. I cannot say enough about this pass. And great finish for Kelly Olynyk, who goes 3 for 3 from 3 tonight. But just a great pass. Like, to suck in that double, and then to not really project this necessarily, but to pass this over his shoulder. That was just a beautiful pass. Beautiful pass. And, this is what you say when you say he's not just a shooter. Okay. Now, I thought this was a very, very good defensive possession minus the foul for Davion Mitchell, right? This is how you want to play Kyrie Irving without using your hands. You want to wall up. I've seen him do this to De'Aaron Fox, seen him do this to some very big guards. It's always very impressive when you watch Davion do this and you just clip him at the bottom. So it's just like, just be a little bit more fundamentally sound on that one. But great effort there. So I'm not even holding the foul against him. All right. Scottie Barnes, just a passing clinic. This is such a beautiful pass and so underrated. All assists are not made equal. And Haroon saying, Rob, you need a better video capture card. Do you think that's the issue, or you think StreamYard is the issue? Yeah, let me know in the comments after, like, what you think the issue is, because I don't necessarily know. I mean, sometimes it goes great. Like when I was on playback earlier, it looked great. But now I'm on StreamYard and it looks super choppy and really laggy, and it goes through like these ins and outs. So I'm not really sure. Yeah. So I'm definitely sure it is StreamYard, because so my screen over here is not laggy at all. Yeah, like okay, like so I'm sharing a screen here off of, like, I'm looking at both screens. It's really weird. So the screen I'm looking at is just Twitter, and it is not choppy at all. But then I'm looking at, like, this is not, I just don't get it. I don't know what's going on. If it's not internet, I'm not sure what the hell it is, man. What if you used OBS? What is OBS? Okay, give me 1 second here. Let me try to solve something here by turning off my Wi-Fi on my phone. Does that make any difference? I don't know. Summer Low saying OBS is like StreamYard. It says I have 1 bar right now. I swore that I would not lag anymore, and StreamYard is just making my life living hell right now. I'm not really sure what it is. I know it's not my computer. Okay, let me try one thing. I'm going to try to open the door. Does that help more Wi-Fi come in? Is Wi-Fi like air? Does it come through doors? My God, I'm so technologically bad. Okay, let's try this again. Anyways, this is just a great pass for Scottie. Finding Kelly here. And Kelly's going to miss that. But just a great time. Just a great time. Now, this is what you can't have. When you're facing off against a team that is better than you, you cannot be smoking wide open layups. And that's exactly what happens here. First with Jakob Poeltl, who gets blocked at the rim. And this was a breakaway. And then, you're going to have the same thing happen with Jonathan Mobo, pretty much the next play down. And it's a wide open layup. And he misses it. So that's what you can't have. You just need to execute. They say, we didn't execute tonight. Well, executing means hitting open layups. Now, Scottie is very much attached to Derek Lively, but he doesn't need to be. And he's just out of position here. And he's going to be late to rotate, and he's going to be late to recover to Omax Prosper here. And Prosper, he doesn't even get a hand up, and Prosper's going to hit this, right? That's just tough. That's really tough. Saying sit beside your router. Yikes, man. Do I need to? Okay, hang on. I'm not like running a 3D printer here. Like, I don't understand why it's so complicated. Like I don't think my 2011 iMac was lagging. I don't get it. Am I good now? Am I better? Did closing Photoshop do anything? I don't know. Yikes. Okay. Let's hope it gets a little bit less laggy at some point. Okay. Bench for bench, the Raptors were being destroyed by the Mavericks for sure. Kelly Olynyk is a very good playmaker. I certainly think so. Look at this play where Kelly is just going to he's going to pretty much lose the basketball. He barely has it. Luka goes for the steal here. Kelly is able to manipulate here, completely draw the second defender, and out of the corner of his eye, see that RJ Barrett is coming in for this cut. Wide open. The easiest basket that RJ got all night. That's just great. That's just great. Okay. Scottie Barnes. Just beautiful. Like, how do you get your teammate anything easier than that? It's just beautiful, man. Like, everything was super easy tonight. Scottie sort of trolling Spencer Dinwiddie here. Thought it was hilarious. Okay. 9 points, 9 assists. Talking about Jokic there. I thought this was hilarious, actually. Just this sort of like flop attempt by Scottie. I mean, Luka kind of knees him out, but there's really no need for Scottie to go flying like that. And, the reaction that Luka has is legendary. Just can't believe it. Just thought that was so funny. Okay. Okay. Now, this is a play that I think really warrants your attention here. Gradey Dick is going to take this three. Okay. PJ Washington is going to contest. And then PJ Washington, assuming that it goes in, is going to run down. And Luka Doncic, being just a brilliant passer, is going to whip this ahead. Beautiful pass. Gradey and RJ don't get back. I'm going to show you another view of this. And I'm going to tell you what bothered me so much about this play. And again, I apologize so bad if it's lagging for you guys. It's not lagging on my end, but it is clearly lagging on StreamYard. Okay. I'm going to break this down frame by frame, and you tell me, was this on Scottie Barnes? Now, first of all, can you identify Scottie Barnes in this play? Scottie Barnes is underneath the basket. Okay. Technically, Scottie is your point guard, but right now, the point position is being played by Jakob. On the court, Scottie is the center right now. Okay? So, Jakob is going to make this pass to Gradey Dick. Now, technically, RJ Barrett has assumed the position of point, which means he is the top of the floor, which means he right now has the first responsibility to get back. And he's not involved in this play at all. Okay? So, once this shot goes in, RJ Barrett needs to look back and Gradey needs to communicate help. Okay? Now, at this point, Scottie Barnes is as far away from PJ Washington as you are right now watching at home. He's about 30 feet away from him. There's no chance he can stop this. However, if the goal is to stop a layup, RJ Barrett is currently closer to the basket, which is the opposing basket, than PJ Washington's. If he wants to sprint back, he can actually beat PJ Washington. But in order to sprint back, you actually have to want to. And he's going to say, no, I'm going to leave this to Gradey, which is a mistake because at this point, Gradey is further from the basket than RJ. It's simple geometry, y'all. It's simple geometry. What bothered me so much about this play is that while RJ Barrett does have the chance to cut off PJ Washington, Gradey has zero chance of cutting off PJ Washington. And who did Jack Armstrong blame for this play? Scottie Barnes. He said, that's what happens when you don't have a traditional point guard on the court. That's what happens. Scottie Barnes is very inexperienced as a point guard. As a point guard, your job is to assure floor balance. And what I'm saying is, what the fuck are you watching, old man? What are you watching? You're sitting out there and you're going to blame this play on Scottie Barnes, and your dumbass fans that are watching this game and don't have two brain cells to run together, they are going to say, yeah, that was on Scottie. How the fuck is this on Scottie? This is where I get so mad listening to this broadcast because it's very clear to me that Jack Armstrong has a bias when he's covering Scottie Barnes. He's always talking shit about him. He's always talking shit about he didn't get back here. He didn't do this. He didn't do that. But, oh, man, Davion Mitchell goes 0 for 500. Oh, he's still trying on defense. RJ Barrett doesn't close out 18 times in a row. That's Maple Mamba. Like, yo, you can't be so blatantly favoritism. You can't show your blatant favoritism because what you do when you do that is you make me go the other way. And you're always going to make me go the other way to clear balance. Now, then I come off as a hater. But right now, if you're blaming Scottie Barnes, you need to visit an optometrist. You need to visit a brain surgeon. This is not on Scottie Barnes. My Lord, help me. The idea that you would blame Scottie for this is like, what else are you going to blame Scottie for? Global warming? Mercury retrograde? What else? Watch it again. How the hell is this on Scottie Barnes? I mean, for all intents and purposes, he was by far your most impactful defender tonight, and yet you are going to blame him for this? Come on, man. Find a new slant. There's plenty of negatives to talk about with Scottie Barnes tonight. You don't need to blame him for plays that he had nothing to do with. It's just absolutely asinine, idiotic coverage, and I cannot believe that it is actually like a professional coach, a guy who coached in Niagara. Well, if you think that's Scottie Barnes' fault, that's why you're not coaching anymore. All right. This is great processed by RJ and Yak. Okay. Here, Klay Thompson's going to fall asleep. Jakob Poeltl is going to find RJ Barrett cutting. Derek Lively cannot recover, and RJ Barrett's going to slam this down. Great. Sometimes you're good, sometimes you're lucky, and sometimes you just get Luka, man. There's really not a lot that the Raptors can do about this. And they didn't do a lot about it tonight. That just goes in. And this is right around when I thought the wheels had fallen off, 96-74. And this turnover from Gradey to RJ, just a terrible pass. There's really no way. And the worst part is, why did Gradey just stand there? And you talk about RJ Barrett's defense. He's going to pursue this. He's not going to do anything to stop this. But where the hell is Gradey Dick? You know, like you commit the turnover, sprint right now, sprint back. You might be able to help RJ Barrett, right? You're not doing anything, but standing there like, oh man, I can't believe I turned that over. It's like, yeah, you standing there is not going to do anything. Scottie does that sometimes. Jonathan Mobo has done that a few times. Every time it happens, it drives me completely crazy. This one, great three by Jonathan Mobo. Again, I apologize if this is a little bit laggy, y'all. That must be so frustrating to watch this laggy frame by frame play. I don't understand why it's going like this, but okay. Scottie Barnes, end of the third quarter. And this is really when the Raptors were like, okay, we are not ready to quit on this game. Scottie just pulled back off the dribble three. I think that it's really important how you score baskets. I think that it's important. And I think it's important when you score baskets. And here Scottie is going to score another one right to open up the fourth quarter. Derek Lively is going to just kind of like wave at him a little bit, saying, hey, you're shooting 27, 28% from three. I don't have to guard you, or 30% from three. I don't have to guard you. And Scottie's like, okay, bet. Okay. Jonathan Mobo is going to hit another one from three. This one was just absolutely great. And again, Derek Lively just willing to live with this. And once again, Derek Lively is just giving up three after three after three to the West Palm Beach boys. And it's not like he can't close out. It's just that's their instruction. They want to live with Scottie and they want to live with Scottie and Jonathan Mobo shooting threes. That's their scheme. And I'm glad that they're taking them. And this one, just another great pass from Jakob Poeltl. Again, Darko Rakovic said his vision for Jakob Poeltl was that he wanted to turn him into a bit of a Domantas Sabonis type. Well, I can't say he's Domantas Sabonis, but he's certainly closer to Domantas Sabonis today than he was at any point prior to this in his career. So that was very good. Okay. This is too easy. This is way too easy. This is way too easy. You cannot get dusted. Do you know how old Spencer Dinwiddie is? He was basically out of the league last year, almost. He is not a great player anymore. Okay. This is not a guy who should be able to do this to an average starting small forward in the NBA. And then he just bumps you here. You just got to be more positionally sound. You got to move laterally east-west. You got to be a little bit more sound with your fouls. It's just bad. Okay. Now, Scottie, again, 13 assists. This was a career high for him. I think he's had 12 before, but he's never had 13. How easy is that? Everything is so easy. And you think about it and you're like, man, if this dude had Drew Holiday, Derek White, Jaylen Brown, Al Horford, Kristaps Porzingis, if he was in place of Jason Tatum, would he be averaging like 15 to 18 assists per game? Like, what are we doing here? Like, he makes so many great passes every single game. This is another great play between Jakob. You really miss Jakob Poeltl, man. Like, sometimes you have him out there and you replace him with, someone like Jonathan Mobo or even, Bruno Fernando, and you're just like, you miss that. You miss the screen setting, you miss how solid he is as a basketball player. Look at that, man. Just clips Spencer Dinwiddie. And once again, Spencer Dinwiddie just got abused defensively. It didn't matter who was on him. Their defense is very disorganized sometimes. Okay. Luka, Spencer Dinwiddie, Klay Thompson. This is not a great defensive team. This is not a great defensive team at all. Here, Scottie is going to get beat, but he recovers to Kyrie Irving. But here's Ochai Agbaji offering help. Scottie late rotating. Gradey loses the inside spot on Derek Lively, and it's just too late. It's just too late. It's just a little too late. And that's just a great play by Kyrie Irving. And that's why, you have players like that on your team making max contracts. Because, yeah, now I'm not sure where the hell the foul is here, to be honest. You can't be so handsy. I think sometimes, you make it too easy for the refs to call the foul. Now, Lucas sells this really well, as you can tell, right? It's just like, okay. Refs usually call it when they see someone get bumped off their spot like that. They're like, that must be a foul. Yeah, sure. Okay. So they call that foul. It's the 15 foul. So that gets called. Now, this was a very clutch play for Scottie. Unfortunately for him, he turns it over literally the next play down. He gets this, and then he throws an entry pass to Jakob and turns it over. But really good pursuit of the basketball. This was after a miss, and he just deflects this. And this is the kind of pursuit you were asking for from maybe an RJ Barrett or a Gradey Dick earlier of like, hey, that's what you need to do. And this play, this was Scottie to Gradey coming off the Yak screen, and boom, baby. And it is 115, 120. And then the very next play was a tip by Jakob that gets waved off, which would have made it 117, 120. So for all intents and purposes, even though you lose by 7, you were right in this game. Okay. You were right in this game. And then some bullshit referee stuff happened. Okay. Number one, it was that, was it a goaltend? Wasn't it a goaltend? I'll be interested to see what the last minute report said. Maybe on second glance, it wasn't a goaltend, but it's a tough break nonetheless. Second is this foul. Is this a foul? I'm sorry. I don't think that's a foul. The Raptors challenged it and they still lost it. And then third, is this a foul? Hell yes, this is a foul. This is 100% a foul. That's Spencer Dinwiddie jumping on Gradey Dick's back. Gradey takes the shot. Granted, after he just airballs it. I'm sorry. That's Gradey Dick. You think he just airballs threes? He's airballed a couple tonight, but okay. This one was major cojones, if ever there was. But the game was just out of reach at this point, right? 34 seconds left. Scottie's still trying here. And this one, 28 footer, I would say. That's fair to say. That's a 28-foot jumper, and he makes it. Look, man, 28-foot jump shot should be very, very inefficient right now for a guy who is traditionally considered a non-shooter by most people, but overall, very good. Okay, let me try to remove this, and let's see if I stop lagging. Did I stop lagging? Okay, we had a caller, Darko's Burner, at one point. We don't see him anymore. I apologize for the beer. I'm not sponsored by beer. Just wanted a beer. Okay, I don't seem to be lagging. So it's just when I share the screen. Maybe I do need a different video card. It's weird. That happened yesterday too. Okay, Scottie seriously needs to develop softer touch around the rim and getting his passes on target. I agree with you. 100% I agree with you. Yeah, I 100% agree with you on that one. We have a super chat here from Johnny A. RJ and Scottie combined 0 free throw attempts. Not gonna get it done. Has that ever happened? I'm inclined to say that has happened. No, I don't think that's happened. I think there was a game where one of them had 0 and the other one had 2. But I'd have to go check. I don't think, off the top of my head, I don't think that's ever happened before. Okay. What do you want, man? What do you want from him? This is who he is. Okay, he's not a good offensive player, and He is, in theory, a good defensive player. Ash saying RJ would have to start the bench. For who? No, I'm not sure I agree with that. Look, man, it's just a bit of a flawed roster situation. Okay. That's just what it is. I mean, everyone has a slightly flawed roster. I'm sure if every single team out there could make some trades, they would, right? Like, hey, we have a defensive liability as our eighth guy. Your defensive liability isn't your eighth guy. Your defensive liability is your number two option. And that's tough. And then you have a massive offensive hole where you're constantly playing 4-on-5. I mean, let me show you something. I would like to show you this just out of the goodness of my own heart. Hang on one second. It's not out of the goodness of my heart. I lie. Okay, hang on one second. It's about to get laggy up in here. Okay. Forgive me in advance for a little bit of lag here. Okay, so over the last 10 games, Davion Mitchell is averaging 26 minutes per game and 5 points on 35% shooting, 23.3% from three, and 63.6% from the free throw line. He is averaging 1.4 rebounds in 26 minutes, which might be the lowest rebound rate of any player in NBA history. I don't think I've ever seen anything that low in my life. And rebounding, last I checked, is a really big part of defense. Am I wrong? Am I stupid, or is that a big part of it? Okay, you have guards who rebound. Ochai rebounds. Okay, Ochai rebounds. Emmanuel Quickly rebounds. Granted, he's not playing right now, right? You have guys like Jamal Shed. They contribute on the glass. Jacoby Walter is a demon on the glass, right? Scottie is a rebounder. So having this one guy who doesn't contribute to rebounding sucks. Okay, it sucks because that's just it's tough to not contribute to rebounding, plus also be a negative spacing threat. It's just not tenable to win basketball games playing this guy 26 minutes. And I've been trying to tell y'all for 3 months now, it's not going to work. Okay. And it's not going to work. You're not going to be able to do this. Okay. So pull that off and hopefully I stop lagging. Will I stop lagging? Yes, I do. So it's just immediate. I share a screen, I lag. I don't share the screen, I don't lag. How can not find a serviceable backup point guard? Okay, look, man, it's not all doom and gloom. When you consider this, consider the benefits of this, okay? Last game against OKC, who were your four best players in terms of box plus minus in that OKC game? Did y'all see the advanced box score for that game? Chris Boucher had a 41% usage, negative 16 box plus minus. Chris Boucher is not in the cards for next year. Your four best players last game were Scottie, Gradey, Jonathan Mobo, and Jamison Battle. That's a 20-year-old, a 23-year-old, a 23-year-old, and a 23-year-old. That's important to me. I would much rather that Scottie, Jakobi, Gradey, guys like this, right? Jonathan Mobo, the guys that are super young, I'd rather they be good and my vets be bad, right? Than, it's Jakob and Boucher carrying the load and Scottie and RJ are super struggling. You know what I mean? So you got to win as a team. At some point, you're going to need to combine 6, 7, 8 good performances, offset 2 bad performances, and win a basketball game, right? Okay, we got Darko's Burner here. Darko's Burner, what's up?
Oh, wow. That was fast. Thanks, Rob. Honestly, call me a homer, but I loved watching that game. The second half of that game was all, hustle. We talk about the ethical tank, but you saw things like some of the highlights for me were, I think there was one moment where Gradey actually looked off Scottie to do an action with Jakob and hits the mid-range jumper. That to me was incredible to see. You like, I mean, you've talked about this time and time again, but like, earlier you were like you would have wanted to see Jamison Battle instead of Davion Mitchell. But in my mind, I'm thinking we have Bruce Brown coming in, who's a legit NBA player. We saw Kelly Olynyk today, legit NBA player. We're gonna have IQ hitting those shots that Davion didn't hit today, and everything else is there. So to me, I don't know. This was a great game. I was glued to the screen the whole game. Maybe not the first half so much. Like there were some moments, but we were down 18. We ended the game. We got it pretty close, and those that to me was a great glimpse of the future.
Mm. You were glued to the screen at like 96-72.
Right. I mean, I came down, I had to go in and out, got to get some kids to sleep, but that's kind of where when I pick up the TV again. So I think maybe a little biased to what I got to see.
Okay, gotcha. Do you think the refs kind of jobbed the Raptors late?
Yeah, definitely. That it was clear. Like there were some moments they tried to play it fair earlier on, or I think they called the carry on Luka because they missed the call beforehand. But then by the end of the game, it was definitely one-sided.
Mm. If you had to guess, where do you think the Raptors are in the Tankathon sweepstakes right now?
Probably seventh,
They are sixth.
sixth. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
But again,
And, New
this is
York
the
might be
process.
desperate coming into next game because they just lost to Detroit. But that also makes me think that New York is beatable and possibly vulnerable
Hmm.
because I don't think Detroit's a great team because Detroit is eighth, literally eighth in the Tankathon. But there's a separation that can happen over the next few games because the Raptors have a totally brutal schedule leading up to the All-Star
Hmm.
game.
Hmm.
And if the Raptors continue to pile up losses here, I don't know. Like, I mean, how do you evaluate this team? And that's, I think, the question, right? How do you evaluate stats? How do you evaluate the wins? Right now, I can tell you the Raptors have not beat a single team that is above 500. And we are more than quarter way into the season. That's a very troubling stat. They've also not been fully healthy, and maybe expecting them to beat an above 500 team without being fully healthy when they themselves are clearly not a 500 team is pretty crazy. But at the same time, like, how many more wins against the depleted New Orleans and Philadelphia do you want to stack onto your roster before you just tear it down?
Rob, I have a question for you
Mm-hmm.
because I've been listening to you quite a bit over the summer, over the last few months, and when we came into the season, the whole idea was that wins and losses don't matter. And if this wasn't a historic draft coming up, I feel like it's like skewing all of the talking points down back to wins and losses. Like you talked about this, it's development. And when I'm watching this game, I'm not really watching whether we win or lose. I think I texted someone like we're clearly outmatched. We're going to lose, but man, we are fighting, and there's some great glimpses of the future. Like we're getting key rotation minutes from two rookies and like a 31st pick, a 19th pick, and Grady Dick, second year 13th pick. But like, who's expecting Grady Dick to actually have the confidence to go and actually trying to win the game, look off your star player on the team, take those shots, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't know. I'm happy. I'm happy with where we're at. I'm in the development and wins or losses. Let them keep playing the way they're playing. Like where let the chips fall where they do, right? Or the dice fall where they do.
If you're leaning one way or another, and I say, okay, it's game 82,
Hmm.
what do you want the Raptors record to be? I'm not
Again,
saying what do you think it's going to be. I'm saying what do you want it to be?
I actually could I wouldn't every time you used to say it preseason, I was nodding along. Wins and losses don't matter for me on game 82 at all. I could be alone there.
Okay.
Uh, yeah, like it's a game 82. If like today, I don't know, maybe it was just again homerism or something, but I saw a leap in Scottie tonight. Like to me, when he was up against this was my favorite highlight of the night. End of the second quarter. Watch the last 10 seconds again. He's mad at Mogul for not letting him get the rebound and take it up the floor himself because he wanted to actually get the offense moving. And then he forces Luka to switch on to him to hit a three in his face. Like I don't know. Like this game had a lot of things to like.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, I I was I had an entire segment on PC about Scotty versus Chris Bosh. I don't know if you saw it.
No,
Did you?
I didn't. No.
No. Okay, so we went off into a tangent about who's a better player, and I'll play a bit of a clip of that. Unfortunately, every single time I play a clip of anything, it just
Yeah,
lags
it
like
was a little
mother.
stuttery. It was a little
Ugh,
stuttery.
I don't understand why the hell that's happening. But nevertheless, I definitely believe that Scotty's the way he's operating and the pressure that he's operating against and the load and creation that he's taken, especially since
It's
moving to
and
point.
the defense. The defense is insane. Like what he's doing to alter the court on defense. You and maybe it doesn't come on the box score. It should get covered in the
Mhm.
advanced stats, but man, it's really good. It's impacting the game.
Yeah. No, I just think that there's something that a lot of fans miss, which is how assisted are you? You know what I mean? Like, are you using a screen assist? Are you getting a dribble handoff from Jakob where he seals his guy and you're getting wide open to the basket? Are you getting your points in transition? Or is someone else doing a lot of the heavy lifting of the load and creation and you're just getting open catch and shoot threes? That was a lot of Scottie's game through the first 3.5 years. I want to say like that was the vast majority of his game. Now it's like, okay, give Scottie the ball, top of the key, cook. That's all you. You just, you do what you got to do. And that is really different. So I don't even give a shit, if he ends up averaging 19.8 points per game this year. The way he's scoring is totally different. And I think that people really have, to wake up to that. I think that's
honestly, I think it's slowly happening. Like even I caught like 5 minutes of the post game, like Sportsnet was on in the background, and I was quite surprised. Maybe during the game, Jack was a little slanderous. I didn't hear those comments that I heard you say that earlier, but post game, everybody's talking about like this is Scottie with the ball as the primary ball handler is a different look. There's a lot like in this team, like even they said it's like trending in the right direction. We got a lot of great looks. They talked about Mogbo. They the 2 for 2, like they made it clear we're a developing team. Like there's a lot of talking points out there that I think are echoing this. So like I think the tide is turning.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'll tell you 3 people who've been telling you Scottie Barnes has been a point guard for 3 years. Me, his trainer, and him. He is a point guard. I know that people don't want to admit that because he's big and maybe looks closer to Dwight Howard
But
physically.
that's old school. He's a jumbo creator.
He's a jumbo creator. That's literally what everybody wants. Everybody wants a jumbo creator. That's why people are high on Dylan Harper. That's why people were high on Cade Cunningham. And what do you know? The Toronto Raptors actually have one, and they've been trying to make him a center.
Yeah.
Go figure. Anyways, man.
Yeah. Thank you.
Any final thoughts?
Thanks for having me on. No, honestly, just that. Like let's keep on developing. I'm putting away the wins and losses. I'm putting away the tank. Let the dice fall where they do.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. Peace, man.
Later in.
Yeah. Lil John, what's up?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. I can.
All right, I'm trying to connect my AirPods. Give me a second. So you said like a couple games ago, these next 3 games are gonna be telling.
Oh yeah.
And you know what's most concerning or just most telling is that last game we couldn't score. Tonight we couldn't defend. So it's like, what exactly is the identity of this team?
They find creative ways to lose basketball games because they're not playing real basketball players.
I mean, these two teams are much better than us. It's like I don't remember I don't remember watching a Raptors team like in my adult years where it's like we're so far away against high competition.
I don't think we're that far away from the. I don't think we're that far away from the Mavericks, man. I know that might be a very, very hot take, but I feel we are 1 year of development from Gradey and guys like that. Like how good do you really think PJ Washington and Daniel Gafford really are? How good do you think Spencer Dinwiddie is? I think Spencer Dinwiddie is trash. I really do. Yeah, I don't think he's a great player. I would not be capping for PJ Washington if he was on our team. I'd be literally trying to lead the brigade for having him off the team. I don't think he's a good player. Like Maxi Kleber is all right. Dwight Powell is washed and overrated. Like Luka is sometimes very lazy defensively, although I think he gets a little too maligned on that end. But Kyrie and Luka are completely on a different planet when it comes to talent than anyone on the Raptors right now, right? But how far do I think the Raptors are from being in a competitive game against the Mavericks? I mean, they were on a competitive game tonight. No, it wasn't that competitive. They were super healthy. We were not. I mean, I don't want to use health as an excuse every single time, but does Bruce Brown and IQ pretty much put Davion Mitchell on ice? And just 26 minutes and 1 point, maybe like just in a game that you lost by 7? Is it possible that like just swapping Davion for IQ makes this like a 1 point game? You know what I mean?
Well, the reason why it was a 1 point game, the reason why I even got that close was because RJ Barrett was in foul trouble.
That is true. That is true. And people don't want to admit
So,
that,
so,
but it's
so,
true.
so when I say we're far away, it's like I don't think the team is that far away from being competitive, but
Hmm.
I'm like including like we're gonna have to make a move to get off RJ because you can't have RJ and Gradey on the court at the same time. You just can't. Like against high level teams, like those are two guys that are just these high level scores are just gonna pick at over and over again. Like RJ, he can't guard bigs. Like posted him up twice. He can't guard perimeter players. Like there's what can you do? Like if you're gonna be bad on the perimeter, at least be strong enough to guard bigs like PJ Washington. Can't do that. Gradey, of course, he's younger, so I'm giving him leeway here, but he can't stay in front of the perimeter players as well. But at least
He's
he's
been
bringing elite
awful.
shooting. Yeah,
He
he's
has
been
been
really
awful.
really
Yeah.
bad on defense. He's taken a step back.
I don't know if he's taken a step back. He just hasn't taken a step forward that I wanted him to take defensively. I need him to try a little bit harder, but I know he does so much offensively in terms of just the miles that he runs and the cuts and his load offensively tonight. 27 points, very impressive. Very impressive game. If Gradey is your worst defender, I think you're fine. If you got two of him, you're gonna sink. It's a little bit like that scene. Have you watched Titanic?
I don't think I've watched it, but like I understand. Like
Okay, your audio is really, really muffled. You actually sound like you're on the Titanic right now. You sound like you are sinking underwater. Okay. So what I'm saying is that there's a scene in Titanic where they're talking about like whether or not the ship will sink, right? And there's like all these compartments on the Titanic, and then they get the engineer who designed the ship, and he's like, she can stay afloat if it's this, but if it's the fourth compartment, she will sink. There's like a critical mass theory here where like when you have one defender who's a little bit compromised, but still serviceable to a sense that you can hide them, you can thrive. You can be okay. You could even be a good defense potentially. But you get two of those guys together in a lot of lineups, that's where because you can always throw those guys into the two-man action and just spam the third defender. It just becomes too easy. And usually if you're going to have two compromised defenders, they're going to need to try super hard, and you're probably going to need to have a generational rim protector to block up all the mistakes that they make. You just don't have one. There's no generational rim protectors on this team. So maybe the goal is, this all of this crappy defense leads us to Kaman Maluach, and Ulrich Shamshi come in next year, and they're just like the generational rim protectors that you need. Not that they're generational, but like really good rim protectors that you need. And maybe that's like how you shore some of those RJ plus Gradey minutes up. But I'm in agreement that I don't think you can play RJ and Gradey long term without like Rudy Gobert or Victor Wembanyama on the court. I just don't think so.
Yeah, what's most interesting is that I think we're both in agreement that we're prioritizing Gradey over RJ.
Sorry, what?
Are we both prioritizing Gradey over RJ?
Yes, of course.
Like that's clear, right?
It's clear to everyone with half a brain cell, but it's not clear to, some people.
So exactly. So RJ, you can't play him against these high-level offensive teams. You just can't. But I will say, Jakob, I'm at the point where it's like, if we're not going to be winning these games against higher competition, I think trading him might be the best route right now. Like his pick and roll coverage defensively is so bad. I don't know what happened. It's so, and if we're gonna keep losing, might as well get a first for him.
Who's giving you a first for him?
I think you can get a first.
No, I'm asking who's going to give it to you. right? It's easy to say this guy's going to net you a first, just like the Raptors were like,
Maybe the
Bruce Brown's
Lakers.
going to net us the first. Who the hell is getting you a first for Bruce Brown? You know?
No, for Jakob Poeltl, I meant.
No, I know, but I'm saying it's the same thing with Bruce Brown last year. It was like, oh, you'll get us the first. From who? Who the hell?
I think
is
the
getting you-
Lakers could use Jakob, but I don't know if they're ready to.
The Lakers are currently 12-11. Okay. I don't know what does D'Lo for Yak, and then they give up a first round pick. Does that move the needle for them? Is that something that they would want to do next to Anthony Davis? Could we possibly get Christian Coloco back? That would be nice. Okay. San Antonio's 11-12 right now. Sacramento's 11-13. Ironically, you know what's funny? Almost every team that's bad lacks bigs.
Yeah, but I don't think Sacramento would want Poeltl because he'd be coming off the bench.
Yeah.
On the bright side, Scottie, his handle looks a lot tighter.
Yeah, it does.
It looks a
Looks
lot
way
tighter.
tighter.
It just got way tighter over like 2-3 weeks. I don't really know what happened, but
Dude, it got tighter over the summer. I think he just needed some time to get used to it. Like I was watching him in the summer and I was like, man, everything looks so much smoother with him. And I'm just happy to see it translating to the NBA. And it has like, I want to say there's like 2 to 3 more levels up that it's got to go. And then he needs to figure out his touch around the basket, his composure and gathers and fluidity on some of his post ups, his jumper, just the range, the mechanics, the gathers, the dribble combinations to get into the jumper. Right now, it feels like he goes from dribbling to shooting. He doesn't smoothly move into dribbling and shooting. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like a nice pull-up stop.
Right.
Jump shot around
Luka,
15 feet.
like Luka. Like with Luka, it's like he goes straight from the dribble to the shot. There's one motion in the entire thing, which is why it's almost unguardable. With Scottie,
he slows down.
He stops dribbling, then he shoots. That's
Yeah.
the problem. It's a big problem, actually. If you ever want to be like a high consequence shot maker, you need to be able to roll your dribble, but you need to be able to roll up your dribble gather into a shot. Luckily for him, he's 6'8" with a
He's
7.
so big, yeah.
He's so big, it's not going to be such a huge issue right now. But if you get guarded by Jason Tatum in a playoff series, it's going to be a really big issue. So,
yeah, I would have liked to. There was a possession where he was ISO'd against Luka, kicked it to Ochai. That was like I could just imagine like every other star, like these what do you call predator wings? That would have just been a jumper right over Luka. Like, you know what I mean?
facts.
That
Yeah.
Like I could just imagine Kawhi. That would have been a nice, easy 17-footer right over Luka. And
It's hard to be critical of Scottie after this game because he had like such a great playmaking game, but I would have liked to see him score like 28 to 30 points in this game, and I think he could have. I really do.
yeah,
He missed some sort of gimmies and chippies around the basket. There was like one where I think he got blocked, or it was close to a goaltend, or just dropped it at the rim. Yeah, man, I just don't know what's necessarily going on with him at the rim. But you would think that a player with that much strength and that much size should be able to finish like 76 to 80% around the rim. And that might be crazy, 70 to 75%, I think that's fair. But he's never been the type to like, he just consistently misses a lot of bunnies. This has been going on since high school, and I've never really understood it.
he has
I
pretty
hope-
good touch though.
It's okay.
I mean,
It's okay.
yeah, it's not bad. It's not plus. It's not like plus, but like he has pretty good touch. Yeah, he needs to be taking 20 shots a game until IQ comes back. 20 shots. Like I need 20 tonight. I think he took like 15, 16. That there was 4 or 5 shots just sitting on the table right there.
Yeah.
But like I said, Jakob should be traded. Do you think he should be traded? Like I know you said it's not a first. It might not be out there, but would you prioritize trading him? Because if we're not winning without him, and then with him, what's the point?
I don't know. I think the point is he's a really good player, and right now you'd sort of be selling on the cheap because you're a losing team, and a lot of teams just assume that you're trying to tank. So not really sure you're in a position of leverage. Unfortunately, if you were in a position of leverage, you wouldn't want to trade him in the first place. You wouldn't want to trade him at all. So that's sort of like
How good is he though? He's good on offense now.
he's a pretty good offensive player. Yeah, he has great touch around the rim. He's a
He's not good
great
on
screen.
defense though.
I don't think he's bad. I don't think he's great. I don't
I,
think he's good. I think he's just average. I think he's an average big. Like he's not DeMontis Sabonis and Nikola Jokic, but he's much closer to Ivica Zubac than he is to Rudy Gobert.
I think Zubac clears him defensively.
Yeah, I agree. But right now, it's like you need him to be like a 96th percentile defender as a big, 95th percentile, 94th percentile. You need him to be like great contesting shots. I'm not sure that he is. I don't think that he recovers very well. I don't think he switches very well. You're sort of locked into the drop coverage with him. But unlike with a guy like Brook Lopez, you don't get the stretch big benefit. Like you saw how great it was to have Kelly Olynyk out there just to space the floor a little bit, right? But then on the other end, you also see how great it is to have Jakob out there with those screen assists and creating these easy pockets of space for RJ and Gradey and sometimes Scottie. Yeah.
My last point is so again, I've been Team Darko for the last year plus.
Okay.
So like if you're looking at Detroit right now, JB Bickerstaff has kind of turned them into like a defensive minded team.
Mm-hmm.
What's the Raptors avenue? Like what are they gonna be? Like are they offensive minded or are they defensive minded? Like what are they? What is Darko like setting them up to be? Because I'm not seeing like again offensively, it's really about the players. Defensively, we don't have any of those players. We have like two.
I think they're development minded. I mean, it's not offense or defense. I mean, you're putting players who are not good defenders on an island against Luka Doncic and Spencer Dinwiddie, crafty guards like Kyrie Irving, without offering any sort of scheme to help them. So clearly, your goal is not to be a great defense. And you're having Davion Mitchell on the court consistently playing 4-on-5. So your goal is not to be a great offense. Your goal is to create great offensive players and great defensive players. So in the end, it's like I get sick and tired of talking about this, but it's the weighted vest theory or the ankle weights theory, right? Because once you pluck away the things that are holding you back, right? The Bouchers, the Mitchells, those guys, you take them out and you just plug in league average players into those spots, which is not hard to find. Those guys are available with first round picks. Those guys are available with mid-level exceptions. Those guys are available in trades, right? It's not difficult to find league average intelligent basketball players who can play in the system. But having players who disrupt this system makes it really difficult for players who are trying to thrive in the system, right? Like everything that Scottie does right now is way more contested than it would be were he on the Boston Celtics. Everything he does is just slightly, So how does Davion's defender sagging into the gap make Scottie work on his handle? Because there's going to be more turnovers for Scottie, right? But now when you replace Davion with an IQ, now there's no defender in the gap because the defender can't be in the gap. The defender can't sit there because IQ has to be guarded. So now you worked on the handle. You got really good at playing with Davion Mitchell on the court, but now you have Emmanuel Quickley and you have all this space to operate that you didn't even know you had before. I really wouldn't put it past the Raptors to just be like a great, team after Emmanuel Quickley comes back. Like I wouldn't be surprised. I'm just curious how far behind the 8 ball they'll be by the time he gets there, because he's probably not back for another 4 games. I'm inclined to say.
I'd be if he comes back before New Year's.
No, he's definitely coming back before New Year's. Okay, so let's see here. So someone asked, is IQ's defense good? He is okay. He's not great. He's not good. He's just eh. Okay, let's see here. So you have New York, Brooklyn. Okay, so it's New York. And then you have Miami. It's not on the schedule here. But if I look at the Raptors schedule, hold on, I'm going to look at it.
I think they added Miami and Chicago.
Yeah, I think they did too. Okay, so let me just pull that off. And then I'm going to...
By the way, thoughts on the Boucher benching? I loved it.
He had a horrible game last game. I don't know if he was not expecting that.
Do you think he's out? Do you think he's out of the rotation?
Bro, I think he's out of the league. I'm not even trying to be mean. I genuinely think he'll be struggling to hold on to an NBA job after this season. Like I don't think people understand. Like when you're a bench player, you have to be one of actual consistency. You know, he does good things. He does good things. But please understand, there are players in the G League who have big rebounding numbers or big shooting numbers. But as an NBA player, you must be way more disciplined. You can't be just fouling crazy. You can't be, you know. So I understand he's a very big fan favorite. I've caught a lot of flack from my Chris Boucher criticism, sometimes from him, you know, directly. Why do you want me so badly traded off the team? Bro, I don't want you badly traded off the team. I want you to learn how to play basketball properly like an NBA professional. But you're not going to do that. So now you're going to suffer the consequences and be out of the league. Okay, so here we go. Yes, so it's December 9th against New York, then a 3-day gap. You're at Miami. So nice for Scottie Barnes and Jonathan Mobley. They get to go back home. That could be a win. Those 2 games that are added to the schedule might just be wins, right? Also, tickets as low as $5. What is happening here? Is this for real? Is
Raptors tickets for $5?
Yo, I'm not kidding.
I don't believe it.
Let me see this. Yo, what? $8? I promise this is not a promo for Vivid Seats, but like, yo, what the hell is this? You can go to Miami and watch these games for $8, and you get to go to Miami in the winter. Yo, that's awesome. $8. Yo.
I think
you know what the Raptors are like, charging their stupid ass prices? They're like, there's this Jerry Seinfeld joke where he says, do airports realize the price of something everywhere else on the planet? It's like, yeah, $18 for a sandwich, $14 for a bottle of water. That makes sense. It's like, do the Raptors realize what Raptors tickets cost anywhere but Toronto? Teams are literally giving these away. The Miami Heat are like, nobody is coming to watch the Raptors. Here, $8 tickets. That's crazy.
I think you can book a flight to Miami and get tickets to the game, and it'd still be cheaper than a lot of the tickets at Scotiabank.
$8 though. Okay, let me see what good tickets are like. Hold on. Let me see. Watch it be courtside for like $18. Like, oh my god, what the fuck? This is Canadian. Okay, hold on. Let me see. Can you get courtside? Flagship. Wow. Okay. Okay. 2 tickets for $1,200. Okay, cool. All right, man. Any final thoughts?
No final thoughts. I'm just again, at least happy with the effort from the team, at least fighting back. You know, you don't want to get punked multiple times.
Are you hitting your microphone?
Is there some noise coming out?
Yeah, you sound like you sound like you're hitting your microphone. It's really weird. It's been happening for like 20 minutes. So I'm just curious what it is. Anyways, yeah, there's some sort of clicking.
Yeah. Anyways, thanks, man.
Yeah, my pleasure. Take care, man. Yeah, peace. Jigsaw Puzzle saying no, it's popping. Okay, makes sense. It's probably because his mic picks up pops. That could be it. It's who Trudeau answers to. It's bigger than him, and things are happening all over. Different times we're in, and next year is going to be rough. Is this what Raptors losses do to people? Like, this is where we go. Justin Trudeau. Okay. And now I'm blurry and out of focus. Focus. There we go. Back in focus. Yo, man, Miami's awesome. Don't tell me what to do. Don't show political posts. Okay. I'd appreciate a please. That'd be great. And who you think you are, man. Last Christmas, I flew to DC for Raptors games, every entrance for 50 USD, and got signed from our players. Dope. Did you see Tankathon has Raps picking Jonas at 6? Nope. But it seems like every post you make is about the draft. So I see that you have pretty much checked out of this season and you are already on next season, which is pretty cool. I respect it. I respect your Tankathon game. I think some of us are still trying to salvage, something in this season. Yeah. I literally bought lower floor seats to Lakers and Blazers in Portland for $700. Why? Expensive tickets. Oh yeah, pay taxes. Masai and Rogers want to cut Penn Stream right about now. That is true. I am not towing the company line at all. Maybe he likes the Blazers. Nobody likes the Blazers, man. Not even me. All right. Overall, I think you saw two teams that I don't even think played necessarily that well. I don't think OKC was playing out of their minds or shooting out of their minds, and they just dismantled the Raptors. And I don't necessarily think this is the best I've seen the Dallas Mavericks play this year, and it wasn't that close. So this is tough. It's tough to take these losses, especially when we were feeling so high after the wins. Emmanuel Quickley's coming back will help. It should help. But at this point, you're like, where will we be? Okay, so now where the schedule lies is that you can add in two winnable games into this stretch, which is a very, very big boost to the Raptors, who desperately need wins right now. Okay, so you consider that you have now added between New York and Brooklyn, you now have a Miami at Miami, and then, of course, Chicago here. So 2 games spaced out, super spaced out. So you have basically 4 games in 10 days. So that's like nice recovery, nice rest. Hopefully you can get RJ Barrett back. You get Kelly in rotation, get Kelly in rhythm. Jakobi's probably going to spend a lot of time in the G League because he's really struggling with his shot right now. And he does have some defensive woes and issues. I do think overall, like, Jakobi's certainly flashed a lot of talent, but maybe that talent is not necessarily ready to be materialized into a rotation spot until later in the year. So I do think that you're entering that second quarter of the season, or if you want to think of the season in thirds, then you have the first third, which is you're just trying to figure out who players are, give the young guys some run. You have the second quarter of the season where you're simultaneously trying to balance trade value, exhibiting guys like Boucher, guys like Brown, guys like Kelly Olynyk, guys like Jakob Poeltl. And you're also trying to see if you can actually salvage the season mathematically. And then, of course, you have the third half of the season, which will either be one of two. It'll either be a push to the playoffs or it'll be a push to the bottom. And I really don't care which one, but I asked this Darko's Burner, I asked the first caller a question. What do you want the Raptors record to be at the end of the year? At game 82, what do you want? How many wins do you want to have? Personally, I'd be perfectly fine with 22 wins. I don't think they're going to have 22 wins. I think they're probably going to have like 34 wins. But you see games like this. You see teams like Detroit starting to turn a corner. You see teams like Brooklyn starting to turn a corner. And you're just like, if those games are 50-50s, we're cooked, right? The math becomes really difficult at the end of the year, right? Because again, right now, at the end of the year, the last month, you have, February through April, you have Phoenix, Boston, Indiana, Chicago, Orlando, Utah, Washington, Philadelphia, Utah, Portland, Phoenix, Golden State, San Antonio. I mean, it's like, yeah, it's great. You have Washington 3 times in March. That's awesome, and those are 3 wins. But it's like, if you can't 100% guarantee you're going to also get the Brooklyn, the Charlotte, the Philadelphia, the Chicago, the Portlands, the Detroits, it's like this schedule just got a lot harder. It's one of the things that people don't realize with the strength of schedule thing is that it's based on, a lot of it is based on last year. And last year, the Portland Trailblazers were, the Pistons were terrible. I don't think the Pistons are terrible this year. So that just changes the calculus on who you're actually facing, right? Like Jack was saying, hey, like the Indiana Pacers, you beat them. They were in the Eastern Conference Finals last year. It's like, they're not playing like that this year. They're not playing like an Eastern Conference Finals team this year. So unless they go to the Eastern Conference Finals this year, that doesn't really matter to me, Anyways, I'm lagging a little bit here. Let me respond to some final comments, and then I'm gonna cut it for the night. You mean 21 and 61? What did I say? Did I say 20? I didn't say 61 wins, did I? Healthy DeAndre Hunter is better than Dyson right now. We actually watched the Hawks versus the Lakers on playback last night. I found myself very, very pleased with DeAndre Hunter's basketball game. Like overall, I thought he was terrible when he was initially pitched in the trade for Pascal Siakam. I was pushing very hard for Onyeka Okongwu, and I was like, we can take DeAndre Hunter, but I don't really want it. I think those players have just gone in completely opposite directions. I no longer find myself very high on Onyeka Okongwu based on what I've seen from him over the last couple of years. It just hasn't been good. And AJ Griffin, of course, a guy that I was really, really pushing for a lot. He's out of the league right now because he didn't want to be in the league anymore because of personal issues and God. So it's like, yeah. And then DeAndre Hunter, I was like, man, how did I get that so wrong? So sometimes I like to study some old basketball takes. Like sometimes I'll put on a live from like 2 years ago, like a trade show, and I'll just be like, who did I want on this team 2 years ago? And was I right? Was I wrong? I think it's good to study, how right and how wrong you are about these kind of things. Anyways, Dyson's defense is elite. He is awesome. But that block by LeBron James yesterday was crazy. Absolutely. All righty, guys. I'm going to catch y'all later. Please hit like on your way out. Please sub up. We would love to get to 12,000 subscribers by the end of the year. We were hoping to get to 20,000. I don't know. Maybe with these laggy ass streams, we're not going to get to 20,000 subscribers. But hopefully, and let me know in the comments after if this, like, was I lagging too hard, or even let me know now, like, was I lagging super hard? I'll be actually curious to see it now. Like, I'll just looking back, we'll see, like, was it super distracting? One of the things that was bugging me about the laptop audio and the laptop connection was that the audio was kind of zoning in and out, especially when it went into that life section. It was really bad. Yeah. Thanks a lot, Liberal. Appreciate you, man. Blue lock frames. Huh? Also, for real, can someone tell me how the hell Rue got back into the chat? I mean, I'm not even trying to be an asshole about it. I'm just being very, very sincere. What the hell happened here? Susan saying, I don't think Jack blames Scottie. He said number 4 is initiating play as a point guard, and that it isn't clear who's responsible to run back, as it would be a system that had a traditional point guard. Okay. First of all, he barely talks about, he never talked about RJ Barrett. I am very, very comfortable going back and listening to it again. He 100% talked about Gradey needs to get back. And then he went on and on about how the point, I'll reiterate what he said. He said that the number one job of a point guard defensively is to make sure you have floor balance. This is what happens when you don't have a traditional point guard on the court. Scottie Barnes isn't a traditional point guard. Ergo, if you're talking about this huge mistake and you're mentioning that you don't have a traditional point guard and it's the point guard's responsibility, well, with no mention of the fact that the point guard in this situation was at the dunker spot. So is he the point guard or is RJ the point guard in that situation? Because RJ is standing where the point guard's supposed to be standing. And I'm sorry, RJ is handling a lot of usage and a lot of possessions for the Raptors. So it's not fair to say Scottie's the point guard when Scottie is standing at the baseline. That's not fair. When RJ is the clearest defender supposed to get back and he doesn't sprint back and you blame it on Scottie and you say that the reason that that play is broken is because you don't have a traditional point guard on the court, I call cap. I would suggest you watch that again because it was very, very specific about that criticism, and I would not make that criticism if it wasn't 100% exactly what he said. Okay? Mr. Canada saying playing videotapes lagged far too much. Yeah, I hear you. I'm gonna try to figure that out. I'm gonna try to figure out why the hell that is. Like it clearly isn't Wi-Fi. If it's the computer, now I'm shocked. Maybe it is like something with the video card. I don't really know what it is, but this is a pretty decent computer. Like it's capable of 4K editing. I don't understand why it wouldn't be capable of 1080p streaming. It makes no sense to me. Anyways, I'll figure it out. Maybe it's the camera. Maybe it's something else. Maybe it's StreamYard. I gotta talk to StreamYard and figure this out. All right. What RAM did you get? I can tell you. Hold on. Overview. So I have a AMD Fire Pro D700, 6 gigabytes. Memory is 32 gigabytes and processor is 3 gigahertz, 8 core Intel Xeon E5. I don't necessarily think that's a computer that should be struggling to live stream, but it's StreamYard ATP. Help me understand, what is ATP? I got an extra PC with 3070 RTX if you want. What is 3070 RTX? Okay. Jay Powell saying, yo, Rob, respect for what you did for Scottie and Raptors players Friday on the PC. Yo, thank you. Appreciate you very much. Yeah. Okay. Well, shoot me an email if you want. Let me know like what you would want for it. I haven't really worked off a PC in a long time, but that would be very interesting to look into. I'm not really sure if it's the like what this is because again, I'm streamed off of StreamYard before on this computer and it looked perfectly fine. I just don't understand why it's having so many complications with the second screen. Okay, hold on. Let me try something here. I'm actually because we're right at the end. I just want to try something. Give me 1 second here. Display preferences. You know what it is? I have a feeling. I have a 4K monitor. Yeah, I have a 4K monitor. That might be creating some issues because yeah, that might be creating some issues here. Because okay, let me try. Hang on. I'm going to try to share my screen and see if now it's super laggy. Am I still lagging? Shit, I'm still lagging. Damn. Military man saying, I also saw the PC video and you got to be one of the smartest guys I know. I don't understand how you don't get mad being around those guys on box score watch only. I mean, no disrespect. I think Mars is pretty smart overall. I do think Mars is pretty smart. And I believe in exposure therapy, my friend. I really do. So, I mean, I don't necessarily think the other panelists are dumb. I respect Jordan a lot. I mean, I also talk to Jordan. Jordan's my friend. And, you know, Chilltown Hoops, I mean, it's just a different take on basketball. But I think that the mark of someone being really smart is being able to be around people who have different opinions than you, right? So I don't know, man. Like there's different types of smart, right? Like people always have this issue with me and they say, well, you're not the typical white guy, right? Like you don't do the typical white guy thing. The typical white guy sounds like, hi guys. I don't do that. And I guess that kind of puts me outside of the normal box where I'm supposed to be a nerd and I'm supposed to be a certain type of, you know, I'm supposed to sound like Sam Vecini or, you know, Samson Folk or those guys. And what's a typical white guy? I don't know. I think that's like I've been told that there's like a demographic like Nerd Sesh. Like those guys are super white. You know what I mean? Like they're clearly. Do you know what I mean? Am I getting myself like, do I have a foot in my mouth right now? I feel like I don't talk like I'm supposed to talk, and I'm not really talking about what I'm supposed to talk about, and I don't really tailor myself to a sure, yeah, exactly, right? So, I mean, I guess I'm in my own box. Right? Like you get what I'm saying. So, I'm not like so that's probably why I end up on a platform like PC. But then on PC, I'm the only white guy on PC, so it's like this is just a reiteration of my entire childhood, right? Little not white enough for the white people, not black enough for the black people, just kind of in my own little space. I don't know. That's who I am. I fuck with country music, man. I like country music. I'm cool. I'm always invited to the cookout. Yeah. Yeah, what are we even doing here? That's amazing. Okay. I'm not sure if I'm the only one, but I don't see how RJ and Gradey work together. RJ's defense is not that good. I think when Ike comes back, we will be a really good team. Would you trade RJ for Cam Johnson? Cam is older. Cam is cheaper. I think most Raptor fans would tell you that RJ is better. But I don't think I don't think he's better. I don't think he's better. You're not going to sell me on it. On PC, look, man, to anyone saying I'm a RJ slander guy, I'm not a slander guy. I pushed for him number 18 on, you know, the 25 under 25. I just can't overlook what he doesn't do. Like I got comments saying, you know, Sasha Music, one of the commenters said, I can't believe you put RJ a full letter grade behind Scottie, and I can't believe you put what was it? I can't believe you put Jonathan Mobile a full letter grade above Ochai. Like this is bias. I disagree. This is not bias. This is objective analysis. If you don't agree with it, that's cool. That's one thing. But I don't think so. Yeah, see, that's the thing, right? Cam's a really good off-ball player, and he also has some pretty good on-ball tendencies. He's a really good movement shooter, and he's a really good defender. So he's just like a really, really, really like a better version of Gradey Dick, but like a big, you know? He has a lot in common with Gradey Dick. He's just a way better defender. You would pray Gradey Dick could turn into Cam Johnson. And yeah, having a player like that play the big position for you next to Scottie, it would synergize everything. I mean, I can't think of like okay, like if you could put oh man, here's a lineup of just hypothetical NBA players that I would love to put around Scottie Barnes. Okay. At point guard, De'Aaron Fox. At the two, nah, forget De'Aaron Fox. At point, Steph Curry. No, that's too far. At point, Scottie Barnes. Fuck the rest. Okay. At shooting guard, who would I put at 2 with Scottie? What would I put at 2 next to Scottie Barnes? I would probably put, let me put Jalen Suggs. That might be interesting. Defensively, I think that would be great. Jalen Suggs. All right. No, at 3, I would put Jason Tatum. At 4, I would put Cam Johnson. At 5, I would put Lauri Markkanen. Pretty damn good team, huh? Oh, for sure. Desmond Bane wouldn't be bad either. Desmond Bane would be fine. Yeah. I don't want to say would be fine. He'd be great in place of Jalen Suggs. Jalen Suggs took some crazy ass shots. Y'all see about Franz Wagner's injury? That was nuts. That was nuts. Yeah. So I think the issue, at least per my understanding right now, is that I'm just talking about the lag. I want to fix the lag before I get the hell out of here. Okay, first of all, I have a 4K monitor. How do I turn my 4K monitor, which currently has a resolution of 4K, into a 1080p monitor? Because I don't need 4K. I'm not doing 4K editing. So how do I do that? I'm probably going to clip the end of this. Don't worry. I'm just staying live while I do this because I figure why not? Okay, this is way too much. Try this. Okay, I have lowered the resolution. Let me see if it helps. Okay. Aha. Does it help? Okay. Let's try something. Let's try to bring the Twitter thing back on and let's see if it helps. Damn it, it's still lagging. This sucks, man. Sucks. Anyways, okay. I'm clipping the last 20 minutes of this. I apologize. I wanted to troubleshoot it while I was on the live just to see if it would get better. It's not gotten better. Film breakdowns have been a really, really big part of what we've done on these post games. And if I can't do it, then we got a real problem with StreamYard. So I gotta talk to StreamYard about, what the hell to do about this. For real. Are you running max power on the processors? What does that mean? Yo, I got to confess to you guys, I'm super technologically unadvanced. I'm like, treat me like I'm like 800 years old. I don't understand technology very well at all. This is a big, big, big weakness for me. So I don't know what that means. Are you running max power on the processors? What does that mean? No, it's not a 2011 computer. This is not a 2011 computer. I was running a 2011 computer before. Okay, bet. Cool. We'll figure it out, man. Like, I mean, I have run a competent live stream off a much worse computer than this, and this is a pretty decent. Alamina Brian saying this is a concerning amount of what does that mean? Yo, I am very, very, very incompetent when it comes to computers. If everything else is fine, it's not your PC. I'm not on Windows. I'm on a Mac. I'm on a Mac Pro. Can you turn off the external video cam and use the laptop one and see if it still lags maybe? No, because that would require a completely different setup and for me to start a new live stream and stuff. Anyway, okay. Let me see what I can do and hopefully the stream from here on out get better. Like my whole goal of upgrading everything was so that I wouldn't lag. Like, I don't know. I have this weird thing where from when I was a kid to now, every single time I go into buying something, I always assume mine is supposed to be worse than everybody's. So if I buy a cell phone and everybody else buys the same cell phone, I just assume mine is going to be slower than everybody else's and break faster than everyone else's. And I don't understand why my luck on technology is so bad, but it just kind of works that way, unfortunately. So I don't know. Maybe at some point I will learn everything I can about technology. I'm not afraid of it. I'm certainly not too stupid to learn about technology. It's just never really interested me that much. I'm just being honest. It's never really interested me all that much. Is it a one-off or has it been happening all the time? It happened yesterday as well. It was basically when we ran the video, it was laggy. When we didn't run the video, it wasn't laggy. So I don't really understand why that's influencing it. Oh, I see. It's a Mac Pro with an AMD processor. Yes, it is a Mac Pro with an AMD processor. Yeah. Okay, guys. Talk to y'all later. Thank you so much for tuning in and better luck against New York on Monday. Let's hope. All right. Talk to you later. Bye.